Uva, a truly picturesque landscape in Sri Lanka. A land blessed by nature, Uva is a region with varied natural formations which are pleasing to the eye. This is the Namanukula Range, part of the central massif of the island, which is greatly valued for its biodiversity. Uva is a great natural basin rimmed by mountain ranges such as these. These ranges rise from 1,000 to 1,500 meters above sea level and influence the warm climatic patterns unique to Uva. Many streams cascade down these mountain ranges in breathtaking waterfalls, contributing to the beauty of the landscape. Bambarakanda Falls, the tallest in the whole country, is one such that tumbles down from a stream near Kalupahana. To enjoy these fascinating scenes, you need to come away from Colombo and approach Uva through Koslanda. Afterward, travel through Haputale, Diyatalava, Bandarawela, Ella, Demodara, Badulla, Mahiyangane, Bibile, Lunugala, Monaragala, and across Buttala to Katragama, and finally to the southern coast. In 1815, Sri Lanka became part of the British Empire. Central Highlands, especially Uva, was planted in tea after the collapse of the coffee plantations. Tea was the primary economic enterprise of the British across Uva. To this day, tea is the foremost economic enterprise of the island. A century or so ago, when they were preparing the land for tea, surveys were conducted from here. This plantation belonged to Thomas Lipton. His fame was such that some referred to Ceylon as Lipton's Tea Garden. It is from here that Lipton surveyed his plantation, and therefore it is called Lipton's Seat even now. One can reach this place via the Bandarawela-Punagala road. Enjoy the view. The planters set up gazebos, and this is one such. From St. Catherine's Seat, you can see not just across the plantations, but right across the Uva Basin and observe many different landscapes and vistas. The British called this land the Downs, since they were reminded of the Downs in England. At sunset, a spectacular kaleidoscope unravels before one's eyes. At dawn, a line of ox carts, a familiar sight in Uva. Even with modern vehicular transport, ox carts are still used. Along the winding, steep mountain roads, the carts travel on daily to Badulla. Though primitive, the cart has some modern features like handbrakes and lamps. The cost of fuel is the cost of animal feed. These carts are reminiscent of an ancient mode of transport. With the opening up of the plantations, the British built railroads. The railway to Badulla was completed in 1920. It runs 291 kilometers through 48 tunnels. across streams, gorges, and ravines. This is one of the most picturesque railroads in the world. Some of the bridges built by the British are fine examples of the engineering skills of the early 20th century. Here is one such, the Nine-Arch Bridge. Traveling by road to Uva, the first township on its threshold is Bergala, though the principal town is Haputale. From here, along the road to Tangamale, is the Adisham bungalow, which attracts visitors from here and overseas. Built of stone masonry, this is typical of British architecture of an earlier period. It was completed in 1931 by the Englishman Thomas Villiers. The interior of this mansion reveals a level of luxury as pursued by British colonials. Today, it is a monastery of the Benedictine monks, a fact all visitors need to be aware of. A little way below Adisham is the Soragune Shrine, a historic site dedicated to Skanda or god Kathargama. This was built during the Kandian period. The wood carvings here are unique. In this fascinating land, another cause for wonderment is encountered when one arrives at Dambana, which is in Mahayangana, where live the descendants of the early indigenous tribes. They still continue some of the religious rituals of their ancestors. Many studies have been undertaken by local and foreign anthropologists on these indigenous peoples. Bandarawela, or reservoir, also called the Sea of Bintan, was constructed by placing a dam across the Devanna stream, which is a tributary of the Mahaveli. What is special about the reservoir is a stone sluice gate. It is made of a slab of granite 18 feet tall and 10 feet wide. Traversing along mountain ranges and reservoirs spread across Uva, we are now on our way along the Lokgal irrigation scheme. This is one of the more recent development projects. From the waters stored here, a vast extent of paddy lands in the Monaragra district are irrigated. This torrent of water of the Badulu River tumbles down a massive cliff. The water spray spreads like a fine mist, hence the name Dunghinda. Dunghinda Falls is 5 kilometers off the Badula-Mahayangana road. This silvery stream sustains many paddy lands. These terraced paddies are typical of the hill country. The geometric pattern created is exceedingly pleasing to the eye. The paddy has matured and harvesting is about to begin. The green has turned to golden brown. The farmers are in the field with the dawn. This is also a great time for the birds. In some fields, the harvest has already been gathered. The paddy is ready to be threshed. Farmers traditionally offer part of the first fruits of the harvest to guardian deities. On the main road to Badula is this bridge across the Ella Bandarawela road. This practice is from times immemorial and linked the community with the temple. This Bogara bridge has existed from the days of Sinhala kings, providing access to the temple. This covered bridge on the Ella Bandarawela road on the main highway from Badula is said to have been built by King Valagamba, who reigned in the 1st century before the Common Era. Another theory has it that this bridge was built during the reign of the Kandyan king Kirti Rajasingha to link the village to the temple built by Valagamba. Perhaps the original bridge may have been renovated by Rajasingha. Whatever, this is a unique construction, entirely made of wood without using a single metal nail. This unique construction needs to be preserved, considering its historical, archaeological, and architectural value. There has always been a deep, strong, organic bond between the community and the temple ever since the advent of Buddhism. The kings built temples in nearly every village for the spiritual nourishment of the people. 10 kilometers in Patanavatta on the Badulla Mahiyangana road is this Buduge Kanda temple. Originally, this was not a monastery. This is said to have been a sanctuary of King Valagamba. It is he who is said to have built this temple and commissioned its wall paintings. The interior of the temple has an image of the recumbent Buddha. The roof of the temple is a massive rock slab, and the paintings on the underside may still be seen. With time, the wall paintings have begun to fade, but some line drawings can still be seen. This is a painting of a religious procession. In Uva, the home of dancers and musicians, scenes like these depicted here may have been part of the life of the community. Artistic excellence among Uva performers can even be seen today, whenever rituals unique to Uva are conducted. Kataragama Devalaya in the center of Badulla shows the practices associated with deities who have been venerated in Uva from ancient times. There are some fine wood carvings which bear close affinity with the Kandyan tradition. These also provide eloquent testimony to the skill of Uva craftsmen of yore. Many folk games are associated with deity. Ankeli, or tugging at the horn, is a popular game or ritual associated with the Patni cult. Two horns locked together are pulled apart by opposing teams till one horn breaks. Dover Temple by the Bandarawela Badulla main highway was built by King Valagamba before the Common Era. Close to the temple is a stone image of the Buddha. What it lacks in refinement is compensated for in a way by its massive proportions. This is a rock temple, and within its confines are murals and images of the fraternity of 28 Buddhas. Everywhere in Uva are alluring sights. There are many places to rest along the main highways and in major towns. These tourist rests are open both to the locals and foreign visitors. Fine hotel facilities catering to visitors from overseas are at Bandarawela. Though originally meant for foreign visitors, they are now open to local tourists too. Bandarawela is centrally located, and from here there are major highways to Kandy in the central province, or to Hambantota in the deep south, or to Norelia in the highlands. Bandarawela is also the focal town for those travelling cross-country. The town, at an elevation of 1,230 meters, is renowned for its mild and salubrious climate. Those in the hospitality trade are warm and friendly. Sri Lankans generally have been reputed for their friendliness and warmth. Horton Plains is a most fascinating spot. This mist-covered plain is 2,134 meters above sea level. This is a view on the way to Horton Plains from the Ohiya railway station. You might mistake this for a footpath, but it's really a motorcycle racing track used by early British planters. That spot in the distance is Haldumulla. Back on the way to Horton Plains, it's around 5 in the evening, the time that animals emerge from cover, especially the samba. Right on time, a herd of samba. One can observe them at close hand if one remains very still. At the rest house, visitors are forbidden to roam outside in the night, for the night is meant only for the animals. Before sunrise in Horton Plains, the Samba trek back singly and in pairs. It is now time for the visitors to explore nature and flora unique to Horton Plains. This forest or wood is a fine resource for researchers. At 7,000 feet above sea level, Horton Plains has a unique vegetation. The main canopy of the montane forest is a fairly gnarled-looking tree with its leathery leaves and sprays of blood-red blossoms, the rhododendrons. Yet another pretty flower is the magenta binnera. Just one marsh in the Horton Plains has a species of bog moss known as sphagnum, the only place in the world this is known to exist. Apart from these, in Horton Plains are many very rare specimens of plants. Most of these are indigenous varieties, while some are only found in South Asia. Fauna and flora have a harmonious existence here. Horton Plains is a marvelous and a unique bioenvironment and a wonderful ecosystem. The source of most rivers in the island is Horton Plains. Many springs abound here. In the streams, only fish that are adapted to the climate can survive. Rainbow trout found in these streams were introduced by the British for recreational fishing. The icy cold Beliuloya begins somewhere on the slopes of the Totopola Mount, and a few miles below runs over the broad and beautiful Baker's Falls on her southward journey across the plains. Among the unique fauna are three interesting lizards. One is the nose-horned lizard, and the other is similar. Both are masters in the art of camouflage. The third of the trio is a beautiful jade green fellow with a striking black head. We are now on our way to World's End. Most tourists see only World's End. Most try to look down 2,900 feet below. But there is more to Horton Plains than just World's End, you must have realized by now. Take away whatever you yourself have brought into Horton Plains, but never anything that belongs here. Take photographs, but leave only your footprints. We have reached Bandarawela through Wallimada, traveling down one of the most beautiful highways. Between the 19th and 20th kilometer markers on the Ella and Bandarawela road is Ravana, a pretty waterfall with a 10-meter drop. In the epic Ramayana, mention is made of this place, and this is said to have been a fortified place in earliest times. The Ella rest house of days gone by is now refurbished as a comfortable motel. From the front garden of the motel is a view stretching far across the southern coastal plain. The wonderful spectacle of the Ella Gap invites visitors to spend a lot of time in savoring the wonder of it all. The Ella and Bandarawela highway takes you right across to the south coast. Sri Lanka was famous for its earthenware from long ago. Cooking is still done in most households in earthenware pots. Food cooked in earthenware is tastier than when cooked in metal utensils. Kumbalgaba is one village on this road which is quite well known for its pottery. The craft and the techniques are handed from father to son. The potter's wheel is a simple mechanism, as simple as the lives of these people. From Kumbalgama, we reach the historical Randanivela. In 1630, the Portuguese army, led by their commander Constantine de Sá, was annihilated by the Sinhala army, led by the youthful son of the King of Kandy. This battle was a decisive one, which hastened the departure of the Portuguese. Beneath the ripening corn is soil enriched with the flesh and blood of the heroic forefathers. At Maligavila in Okkampite is this sculptured masterpiece. 35 feet high, this statue is carved out of limestone in the 7th century of the Common Era, during King Dappula's reign. Meters away from here is a Bodhisattva image, another wonderful piece of art. The erect figure is on a pedestal 1.5 meters high with a diameter of 5 meters. The stone pedestal is in the shape of a lotus. Known as the Dambekuta statue, this is the largest example of a statue of a Mahayana Bodhisattva. In the early morning, we see the Galoya Reservoir, known as the Senanayaka Samudra. This is also a wildlife sanctuary. The different species of birds arrive very early in the morning. In the morning, not just the birds, but elephants may sometimes be observed moving from one islet to another. Across the lake in the distance, you see Westminster Abbey, a monolith rising from the plains. This wild sanctuary is a haven for the birds, as there are only a few motorboats to disturb them. If you intend to visit this wildlife sanctuary, the circuit bungalow at Ekdal Aru is open. Apart from this, there are two campsites at Keballabukka and Kossapola. If you roam within the sanctuary, you may be able to see 32 species of mammals. This is the Handapanagala Reservoir. Some years ago, this was the haunt of wild elephants. But with the conflict between man and beast, the elephants have been driven away from their habitat. Now, only the birds are left. Handapanagala is a resting place for migratory birds who come over from colder climes to avoid the winter. Hardly an elephant is to be seen now. They have had to leave their habitat, probably with embittered hearts. Unlike the native population, visitors might well feel the absence of the elephants more acutely. As if to relieve the boredom, a few elephants trek occasionally to Handapanagala. In close proximity to Handapanagala is the historic Budruagala, where there is the famous Bodhisattva statue, thought to be of the 6th century. The statue reflects a Pallava influence, and this is considered one of the finest Bodhisattva images anywhere in the world. The image to the left of the Buddha image is said to be the representation of Bodhisattva Maitreya, a future Buddha. Some take it to represent Bodhisattva Vajrapani. To the right of the Buddha image is the statue of Tara, the consort of Bodhisattva Avalokitesvara. Even today in Uva, artists still display great refinement in their work. One such artist lives in Hinnarangula in Boralanda. His creations are displayed at the Hinnarangula temple in Boralanda. There are also woodcarvers as dexterous as their forefathers who hundreds of years before them inhabited the same locality. These masks, once a specialty of the southern craftsmen, are now being turned out by the craftsmen of Uva. Ella is a waterfall you come across on your way to Katharagama. This cascades down the face of a cave. The doves, whose abode is the cave, has given the name Ella to this waterfall. Katharagama is another holy place in this island. This is a shrine devoted to god Skanda, or Katharagama. Skanda is venerated by the Buddhists and Hindus, and this is another example of those places where the unity of people of Sri Lanka is affirmed. Here at Katharagama, many rituals are practiced. These, known as Alati Ammas, serve the deity. Religious observances are performed at appointed times. Devotees make offerings in the hope of seeking favors of the deity Katharagama. In close proximity to the shrine is Kirivihara, where the Buddha is reported to have sojourned briefly on one of his visits. In every way, Uva is pleasant, with a beautiful environment and an invigorating climate. Uva also promotes a sense of peace and tranquility. We invite you to visit this haven, leaving aside the cares of the world. Indeed, we would feel privileged to entertain you, even on a brief visit.